Hey everybody, good morning. It took me a little bit to find the perfect spot to be outside and do the live stream today, but I think I found it. It's finally warming up a little bit, which is super exciting, and the overcastness is starting to go away, so that's very cool. So I've been able to do these outside lately, which is a lot of fun. So today, hey Kara, great to see you. Today we're talking about chaos as an opportunity for change and growth and healing and all sorts of great stuff. You know, we're in the middle of chaos right now, of course, in our lives. Leslie, nice to see you. You know, I just went to a conference this weekend, and it was a metaphysical conference. Hey, Connie. It was a metaphysical conference with some of my favorite speakers. We had Neil Donald Walsh, who does Conversations with God. It was Greg Braden, who is, you know, I'm definitely a fan. Sonia Choquette. It was Caroline Mace, you know, all these really wonderful speakers. And it was an intimate, small conference. There were only about 400 people there. It wasn't the thousands and thousands that these things can bring. And it really brought me back to, you know, the time and place that we're in our world and the chaos that we're in. And the biggest challenge that most people are having is how to have a different point of view, how to engage with the chaos and the insanity and the overwhelm and the technology and everything in a different way. Because the fact that we're in chaos means that we're in this tremendous time of change. Hey, Lisa, we're in this tremendous time of growth and flux and evolution, and we don't know it because we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of this super transformative time, and not just on this crazy metaphysical level, which I love metaphysics, they're a lot of fun, but in our personal relationships, in our world outside of us. You know, we're in a time and where we can really take this opportunity and use it to our advantage. You know, so reading the book Opportunity with Eben, one of the topics I wanted to cover today was, how do you find great opportunities? You have to look for them. And where do you look for them? You look for opportunities in times of either chaos or stagnation. Because when there's chaos, nobody knows what to do. And most people, including me sometimes, we sit back and we hope someone else will find the answer. Someone will find the solution through. But if you're on your toes, if you are prepared for the fact that relationships are going to bring chaos, and that we go through these different times, you know, these ebbs and flows of crazy and not crazy. I'm sure some of you are feeling it. Thanks, Lisa, for sharing that. Hey, Sharon. If you're prepared for the fact that life doesn't stay the same, that it's going to have these ups and downs, and if you're mentally prepared and emotionally prepared, it means you can take advantage of the opportunities of this. You know, I've seen it in my own practice and talking to my psychologist and looking around in the world. Most people are kind of frozen or reacting in some way to the overwhelm that's happening to them. Whereas a smarter possibility is of um, of chaos in their lives. They were told, okay, I keep cutting out. I should be better now. It says that, okay, cool. It says that my connection is back, so hopefully we will be back on track. So I was talking about how the world has changed since nuclear war and nuclear weapons came about. Now over our heads, like with North Korea, understanding of your world is so important. Your understanding of how a different way that the world can work. Because if you're anything like me, you try to hang out with people who think similarly, who think metaphysically, who think in a broader picture, who like to look at the world in a happier space. The challenge is we are surrounded, the majority of people out there are in a place of fear. They're in a place of chaos. They're in a place of overwhelm, and they don't have any tools. They don't have any spiritual tools. They don't have any stress management tools. They've got nothing. And this is an opportunity for those of us who've done a lot of inner work. And the stress from the media and everything else around us. Instead of getting caught up in that, find the place to be grounded and recognize that your voice, your insight, and your understanding is desperately needed right now, even if it's the same thing that other people are talking about. When I went to the conference, I got a lot of validation because here are all these great speakers talking about and passionate about the same things that I am, about how we have to engage with the world differently. We have to look at ourselves differently. We have to change how we live our lives. It's critical. And the majority of people are incapable, they don't know how to go through these changes and these transformations. They have no idea how to stay sane. We're in the midst of chaos. If you've had any sort of trauma in your life, and a lot of you who follow me do, then you've learned the skills of how to deal with complete overwhelm, complete out of control, and can't handle it. You've got these skills. Your body may still react to fight or flight. You may be still healing. Good, I'm so glad. You may still be healing and going through this stuff, but that doesn't mean that you haven't garnered really important wisdom. Good, I'm glad I'm back on. I'm glad it's pretty stable. Ready for the insights that you have. The people that are around us, they're getting to the point of critical stress, of critical overwhelm. It's not just the fringes of people who went through trauma. Overwhelm and PTSD from life is becoming common for everybody just because of the age that we live in. And you are in a cool, fascinating, amazing position because people are finally opening up their ears. The door will be starting to open because none of our politicians, none of the leaders have had good answers for how we can engage with the world in a healthy way and keep moving forward and stay whole while we're at it, not destroy ourselves. People in positions of power are not talking about these things. They're not talking about how to live in a way that keeps us from destroying ourselves. Hey, Michael, good to see you. So it's really critical for your voice at this time to be that voice in the chaos, to be the voice that says, we need to look at the world from a different perspective, from a perspective that's more balanced, and not one that's all mystical, airy-fairy of everything's going to be amazing and great no matter what. Hey, Tara, everything's going to be fabulous, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at the world in a balanced perspective, that chaos will come and chaos will go, and how do you move with the wave? How do you keep your sense of self and your sense of well-being in a time when everybody else around us seems to be losing their mind and going off the deep end? You've been working so hard. Hey, Michael, you've been working so hard over your life to develop these wisdoms and these understandings and realizing that you cannot engage in the world in an adversarial sort of way. You can't be surprised by change and chaos because it's coming at us faster and faster all the time. 200 years ago, change did not happen this fast. Overwhelm was not at this degree. Maybe if someone was in the middle of a wartime, that would be true. But now this PTSD and this overwhelm is everywhere. It's all throughout our society. It's our jobs to be that voice of sanity, to be that voice of balance and well-being that says, wait a second. We have got to look at the world, perceive the world, and engage with it at a higher level, at a level that's more integrated and more balanced. We're getting fantastic information out all the time about how we really work, how our heart has its own little brain, and how you can connect it with your brain in your head, and how we can get them integrated. Yeah, Tara says, so true. We need to stop trying to force our lives to look a certain way and start accepting where we're at. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective that people need to hear. This is where we're at. This is what we're dealing with. When we try to ignore it, it's just going to make it worse. But when we sit there and we find a grounded place where we can get our mind and our heart and our gut in alignment, where we can get them on the same page, and compassion really is that integrating tool, the thing that connects our mind and our heart and our gut. Compassion on a physical level is that felt sense, that chemical is what connects all of it and puts it all in tune. When we've got those parts of our body working together, integrated, we're able to think on a higher level, on a level that is more problem solving and less reactionary. On a realm that sees solutions instead of feeling stuck by the overwhelm. So the most critical thing that you can do now in this age of chaos, it's almost what this age is. It's an age of chaos. The best thing that you can do is to find a space where you feel safe, where you can breathe, and to consciously integrate your heart and your head by using compassion, by being in that place of compassion, of care, of kindness. When you can sit there and be in that space, that's when the solutions will appear. That's when you'll see your way through. Instead, right now, we've cut ourselves off from our most important tools, which are us, the ability to see past the problem to a solution, the ability to see past the behavior to the person. That's our genius and our gift. And it's needed more now than ever. And so the world is getting ready for that voice, for that vision. Yes, ego definitely knows we're running out of time, and spirit knows we are eternal. That's absolutely true. And we do know we're running out of time. And so we really have to make our voices heard, because we're in an age of fear and anxiety because of nuclear weapons, because of our ability to destroy everything, because of our overwhelm from technology and what can actually be done. We're in a time where we could be moving towards destruction of ourselves or of the world, And so a balanced perspective, one that looks at the human being as light and dark and colors and shades and sides as a whole, instead of just as one aspect, so that we can take the reactions and the difficulties that people are having, and we can help them course correct into a more open, integrated, balanced perspective. That's what your job is to start speaking these things, because people are now open to them. They're in such a level of stress, such a level of chaos and overwhelm that they cannot think their way out of the paper bag. And your job is to be that space where they can feel different, where they can feel safe, where they can calm down and get that perspective that will move them forward, instead of the fight or flight limbic system that just keeps them stuck. Okay? Yes, Tara says honesty and authenticity is also so important, because that breaks down the barriers between people. Yeah. So the more comfortable you are with you, even with me, with, there's a low connection and the live stream's going out. Now I have to go inside and look, everything isn't perfect. You know what? That doesn't matter. Being perfect, achieving that thing isn't what matters. What matters is that your voice is getting out there. It's being another voice in the community, in the world, that says, wait, stop. Let's look at people and let's look at life in a balanced perspective, because we are in the midst of chaos. That's your job. So your homework assignment today is to somewhere, somehow be that voice. Even if it's just the voice in your own head, even if it's you taking that moment and sitting outside and being that rational, balanced, compassionate voice, and taking those moments and connecting, what some mystics would call the soul, which is probably the little brain that our heart has, that they've been studying and said, hey, here's the little brain of the heart. When we start combining that part in our heart with our brain, we become thinkers and feelers that are above what we've been able to do before. And that's what's needed. So I want you to be that voice somewhere, sometime, somehow for today, even if it's just for yourself. And by doing that, you will be resonating and vibrating and strengthening that voice of rationality that we desperately need right now, in order to avoid the craziness that most people are feeling. We need to help them course correct. And it's possible, but only when we're not only integrated in ourselves, but when we're integrated with our community, when we're all moving in that same direction. When you can get people moving in the same direction with this thought pattern and these ideas and these words of balance, of looking past the behavior to the person, of holism, of integration, when you are talking that voice, you are joining a chorus of people, a choir of people, and that voice is getting stronger and louder. So if you think that what you have to say and your perspective and your insight isn't critical right now, it is critical. And so speak it. Be that voice and be that person. That's your homework assignment today. And comment, share, like. I know part of the video was low signal, so it got cut off. But I think the content's really, really important. So share, like, comment, start a conversation, comment on other people's stuff. And let's get the choir louder and louder until more people start joining in. Just like that Coke commercial. Remember when you were a kid, there was the Coke, I'd like to teach the world to sing. That's how this works. Be that vibration and that energy. And if you do, you will be moving our whole planet, our whole world, everything in the direction of a better balance and more rationality and a higher level of being and living. We don't have to stay stuck here, and you are that change. Okay? So have a great day. I will see you tomorrow, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.